The Tanchjim Fission Shadow Edition. Let's talk about it. The story of how I acquired this IEM is a little bit longer than some, so please bear with me. I got the original Fission, the rose gold Fission, from Hi-Fi Go. At the time, I knew that there was a black version and I requested it, but they were not able to provide that to me. After I got the rose gold version, a little bit later, they gave me the opportunity to buy a discounted version of the Shadow Fission or the Black Fission, depending on what you want to call it. This is a collab Fission, so it is a slightly different tuning, different packaging, and I originally wasn't sure whether I wanted to even talk about it, but I do think it is worthwhile to take a few minutes at least and go over this IEM because I do find it slightly different and unique, and I like it a great deal. So let's start by looking at the build quality of this black Tanchjim IEM. In the shell, the only real difference about this IEM is it is black. I think it helps make the nozzles pop a little bit better, and I like that a great deal. I feel like it's almost like a Vanta black, like it doesn't really do good even showing it under these lights, but I feel it's just super dark. It is a little bit of a fingerprint magnet, but all around comfortable shell, light black, and black is kind of like my favorite color, just as dark as my soul. The cable is pretty easy to swap out. It doesn't take too much effort to just kind of yoink it off, and it's easy to kind of match these up to turn them back on. This is a nice cable in that regards. The cable is kind of plush. I personally just bought a $80 upgrade cable just because it's pretty and it looks nice. And so for me, trying to say the cable isn't worth the money is kind of hard to say, but for me, I like this cable a great deal over the stock Fission. It's a nice color. Blue for left, red for right, a little R for right and L for left on this. Really easy to tell left and right on this. It comes with 3.5, 4.4, and USB-C. Great little packet. 2 sets of tips, nothing too exciting, but a fair amount of accessories for an IEM of this price. The bag is white. It's a little bit of a missed opportunity, but it's okay. You do get nozzles with this, which is kind of fun, and you are able to change out the sound as you would like to with this little screwdriver. So how would I describe this sound? I would describe the sound as balanced, smoother than the original Fission. I feel like it's brighter and sharper with clearer definition across all frequencies. I feel like the lack of extra air and the treble done better makes this all around a smoother, more cohesive IEM that to me is a really nice rendition of sound. I really like this IEM, and I really think it is an improvement on the old Fission. Let's look at some graphs. All right, the Tanchjim Fission, let's talk some graphs. Now, if we normalize this at, say, 500, what do we notice? Quite a bit of warmth, a little bit of upper mids, but it's not bad. I like the approach that this has, and I want to show you a few other IEMs that this reminds me of, and got a few other IEMs that a lot of people I think are going to compare this against. First of all, if we look at the rose gold Fission, you'll notice they're basically the same. It's just the rose gold nozzle has a little bit different upper air and treble, which you might like a little bit better, but it might be a little bit more sparkly. I feel that the Black Shadow becomes just a little bit more subdued and laid back, which is nice. As far as like say versus the more expensive Force, I think these two are really close. Notice the warmth you're going to get in the Black Shadow gold nozzle. Normalizing this at 500 to get a better view of it. You'll notice that the Force has a little bit more upper air and just kind of a different approach on 8K. It's a different IEM altogether and a different approach. It's very smooth and cohesive, but I don't think it's as fun. I think the air and upper detail of the Force sounds better, but I think the lower mids and the overall presentation of the Fission Black Shadow is better. And it's just a really nice, smooth, single dynamic driver IEM, and it's also like $100 cheaper. Like the difference between pretty much all these is pretty minimal, but I would have to say that I would go with the Force over it. but there is something really enjoyable about the Black Shadow Go version. Other IMs around this price, say the Gizadio Chopin, like what do you notice? A little bit more sub bass, a little bit less mid bass here, kind of a different rise and approach on that mid bass region on this nozzle. You'll notice that the upper mids are also pretty similar, maybe a little bit more depending on where you look and normalize this. Like if we put this is at 800 now, but if you put this at 500, you can tell it's pretty darn similar, all things considering, just kind of a different approach here. Now, this does remind me of the new Truthier Pure, and you'll notice that the Truthier Pure has a little bit less bass through here, not much, but a lot of bit less upper mids, and that's kind of one of the problems with the Pure, is it can be a little bit subdued, and it doesn't really, like its bass levels don't match. I don't know, it's just not that engaging of an IM, but it's also not bad. It kind of depends what you're looking at. I know a lot of people really like the Pure, and I think the difference between these two is pretty minimal, and it's just kind of something to note. Like looking at these two, notice the amount of upper mids you get in the Fission, but it doesn't sound like that to my ear. You might hear it and just say, oh well, no, this one's better than this one, and you might feel differently about it when you hear them. Another thing to look at is the Bunny. This has almost exactly the same upper mids as the Bunny. You'll just notice the Bunny does have that really strong like 13K spike, whereas the Fission Black Shadow is more subdued. All right, the Shadow Fission. Let's rank this up. I mean, how does this do? I think the treble and upper air frequencies are pretty good for the price. I think this is all around a really solid IEM that I think is smooth, incisive, and has nice treble. It is a dynamic driver, it is pretty, it has good accessories, it doesn't have a case, but at this price it's hard to deny. Well, MSRP is $169. I have seen this on AliExpress for like $130. You will probably see this on sale for significantly cheaper, and so I would recommend to maybe wait for some of the sales that are coming up. But I would say that this is a solid IEM overall at an A value. For me, this makes this IEM like a really solid, to me, like possibly a benchmark at this. And I think the Aether has some problems in the upper treble. The Chopin is also a really nice set, but it may not be what my personal favorite would be. I really like this IEM for a lot of different reasons, and it gets a recommendation not just because of the sound, but because of the features and everything about this. Does this really compete with slightly better IEMs that are, that you might spend a little bit more on, that are in that next upper echelon of category? I don't think it really holds a candle with the Odyssey or the Crescent, or even its big brother, the Force. Even stuff like the Afu Performer 7 aren't really going to do great with this, but again, a lot of those, if I like when I use them, or when I have used them in the past, I often will times cable swap. And again, this is a full-blown package with everything that you could want for well under $200, which I think is a great deal. As far as by the brand for Tanchjim, I feel like the Fission Black is, I would even give it a better than the Origin. The Origin felt like too sparkly, too incisive, too much like somebody trying to throw random detail at me, whereas the Fission Black feels like it's just adding a little bit more smoothness and richness to the stuff. It's just a nice overall effect. I do like the treble and the extra detail of the audio, of the Effect Audio Force better. And I think it is a slightly better set, being more expensive, and I still find it to have like a more precision and technicality to it. But again, at this price, I do think this IEM competes and is a really nice, fun set. The IEM hobby is at a funny spot. You got to know what you're looking for and exactly what type of an IEM you want. Design matters, but more so the sound. To me, this does have a unique sound that is different enough from the Fission, but according to the Grass, the only real reason or to even buy it would be that difference in the upper air. If that makes a difference to you, I think it would be an upgrade. I think if you like the design, the better cable, the black faceplates, I think that is also worth the upgrade. I was originally not going to upgrade or not going to review this, but I feel like because the sound is different, because I feel like this is a good sonic value, this represents a fun set. Do you need to buy this via the Fission? Absolutely not. But I do feel for people that aren't sure, that are considering it, it's a worthy upgrade. For me, I spent an extra $150 upgrading the color of the faceplate on an IEM that I bought. So it's hard for me to justify. I spend a lot of money on IEMs. So when I can find an IEM that is dialed into what I want from a design perspective, and from a cabling perspective, and has different tuning factors and USB-C, and it just hits a lot of markers for me. To me, it gets a strong recommendation, and I think people are going to like it if they try it. Thanks for watching my video. If you guys have any questions about this IEM, leave them in the comments below, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!
You're mid, you're mid, you're mid, you're legendary. You're mid, Jaytiss out.